The Omega's Lullaby, a werewolf romance story. Opening, hello my beautiful dreamers. This is Luna, and welcome back to Luna's Romance Audiobooks, where the most overlooked hearts can hold the greatest magic, and sometimes the one everyone rejects is exactly who's needed most. Tonight I have a story that will warm your souls and surprise you at every turn. A tale of twin pups who couldn't be calmed, an alpha king desperate for peace, and an omega maid who everyone had dismissed as worthless. Until she did something no one else could do. Imagine being invisible, the lowest of the low. An omega so weak that even other omegas look down on you. Imagine watching countless qualified wolves try and fail to soothe the royal children, while you scrub floors and keep your head down, knowing your place. Now imagine discovering that your perceived weakness is actually your greatest strength. That the gift everyone mocked makes you the one person, the only person, who can bring peace to chaos. So settle in close, my dreamers. This is a story about being underestimated and rising above it, about finding your purpose in unexpected places, and about learning that sometimes the most powerful wolves are the gentlest ones. This is the Omega's Lullaby. Prologue, The Broken Omega. My name is Wren, and I am nothing. Not nothing in the poetic sense, nothing in the literal practical sense. I'm Omega, the lowest designation. But even among Omegas, I'm at the bottom. Too small, too weak, too quiet, too... everything wrong. Wren, you missed a spot, the head housekeeper snapped, pointing to a corner of the palace corridor I'd been scrubbing for an hour. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. I scrubbed harder, my knees aching from hours on the stone floor. Around me, the royal palace bustled with activity. Servants rushing between chambers, guards changing shifts, nobles arriving for court, and me, invisible except when someone needed to criticize my work. I'd been working at the palace for 3 months. 3 months of scrubbing floors, emptying chamber pots, washing linens. The jobs no one else wanted. Why did we even hire her? Another servant whispered, not bothering to lower her voice. She's useless. Can barely lift the wash baskets. The king requires us to employ omegas from the outcast shelters. Some charity program. Charity wasted on that one. She'll probably die of consumption before winter. I kept my head down, pretending not to hear. I was used to it. Had heard variations of it my whole life. Too weak to live. Too worthless to matter. Better off dead. I'd been born the runt of a litter of 6. My siblings thrived. I barely survived. My parents tried. Truly tried. But when I failed to shift properly at 12, when my wolf emerged as barely more than a large dog, they gave up. She's broken, my mother said, crying. Something's wrong with her. By 15, I'd been turned over to the Omega Shelter, a place for wolves who couldn't function in normal packs. The broken, the weak, the worthless. I learned to make myself useful, learned to clean, to sew, to cook, learned to be so invisible that people forgot I was there. When the royal decree came, that the palace would employ omegas from the shelters, I'd been chosen. Not because I was skilled, but because they needed numbers, and I was expendable. At least we won't feel bad if this one doesn't work out, the shelter director had said. So, here I was. 20 years old, scrubbing floors in the Alpha King's palace, invisible and broken. I didn't know that my brokenness was about to become the kingdom's salvation. I didn't know that the royal twins, the heirs everyone doted on, would change everything. And I didn't know that the gift everyone mocked would make me irreplaceable. Chapter 1. The Silent Omega, 3 months at the palace. Week 1. My first week at the palace was overwhelming. The building was massive, corridors that went on forever, rooms I'd never seen the inside of, areas servants like me were forbidden to enter. Stay in the lower levels, the head housekeeper Matilda instructed. Your laundry and floor duty only. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't make eye contact with nobles. Don't cause any trouble. Yes, ma'am. And speak up. You mumble like a mouse. No one can hear you. I tried to speak louder, but my voice had never been strong. Barely above a whisper on my best days. Useless, Matilda muttered. Just stay out of the way. So I did. I scrubbed floors before dawn, when the palace was still sleeping, washed linens in the basement laundry, where no one important ever ventured, kept my head down and my voice silent. The other servants ignored me. The Omega ones were kind enough, but busy. The Beta and Alpha servants treated me like furniture. I didn't mind. I'd always been invisible. This was familiar. Week 4. By the 4th week, I'd learned the rhythm of the palace. Early morning, scrub the main corridors before anyone wakes. Mid-morning, haul laundry to and from the washrooms. Afternoon, clean whatever areas Matilda assigned. Evening, help in the kitchens if needed, otherwise more scrubbing. It was exhausting. My small frame wasn't built for the heavy labor. I collapsed into my tiny servants' quarters every night, muscles screaming. But I was fed. I had shelter. I was safe. That was more than I'd had before. "Did you hear?" one of the Omega servants, Clara, said during a rare break. "The king's twins are here. Arrived yesterday from the countryside." "The heirs?" another asked eagerly. "I haven't seen them since they were babies." "No one has. The king keeps them hidden after—" Clara stopped, glancing around. "After what happened to the queen." Everyone went quiet. I'd heard whispers about the queen, how she'd died giving birth to the twins, how the king had descended into grief so deep he barely functioned for months. "The twins are 3 now," Clara continued quietly. "Old enough to be presented to court. That's why they're here. I heard they're beautiful, perfect alpha pups, both of them. I heard they're monsters. Uncontrollable. That's why the king hired 7 nannies before they even arrived. 7 nannies for 2 pups? That seemed excessive. But it wasn't my concern. I was floor scrubbing Omega. I'd never see the royal children. Week 8. The twins' presence changed the palace. Suddenly there was more noise, more chaos, more frantic servants rushing between the royal wing and everywhere else. "The nannies are failing," Clara whispered during laundry duty. "The twins won't calm, won't sleep, won't stop crying. They've gone through 3 nannies already. Each one quit after 2 days. Why can't they calm them? No one knows. The king's tried everything. Healers, experts, even a witch who specializes in temperamental pups. Nothing works." "Maybe they're just spirited," I suggested quietly. Clara laughed. "Spirited? Wren, you haven't heard them. The whole palace hears them. They scream day and night. It's like they're in pain, but the healers say they're perfectly healthy. Poor babies. Poor king, more like. He's desperate, running out of options." That night, I heard them for the first time. I was scrubbing the corridor 3 floors below the royal wing when the sound reached me. Crying. 2 voices overlapping. Not the normal fussing of children. This was deeper. Desperate. Like something was fundamentally wrong. My heart clenched. I knew that sound. Had made it myself as a child, when my wolf wouldn't shift properly, when the pain was so intense I couldn't articulate it. The sound of being broken and not understood. Week 12. 3 months in, and the twin situation was getting worse. 4th nanny quit, Clara reported. Lasted 1 day. Said she couldn't take the screaming. How is the king handling it? Barely. He's trying to rule a kingdom while his children won't stop crying. The council's getting impatient. Some are suggesting the twins are cursed. That's awful. That's politics. If the heirs seem weak or broken, it undermines the king's authority. I thought about that while scrubbing floors, about how quickly people would write off a child as broken, as cursed, as worthless. I'd been written off the same way. That afternoon, Matilda assigned me to scrub the corridor outside the royal wing. The king wants everywhere spotless. Healers coming and going, tracking dirt everywhere. Clean it. I went with my bucket and brush, keeping my head down as always. The crying hit me immediately. Louder here. More painful to hear. A door opened and a woman stormed out. The nanny, I assumed. She looked exhausted and defeated. "I can't," she was saying to someone inside. "I've tried everything. They won't calm." won't eat properly, won't sleep. I don't know what else to do. Please, just one more day. A male voice, deep, tired. The king? No, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but no. Find someone else, anyone else. She left, nearly tripping over me in her haste. I kept scrubbing, trying to be invisible. The door remained open. The crying continued, and my heart broke a little more with each sob. Chapter 2, The Failed Attempts. Nanny 5, The Expert. The next morning, a new nanny arrived with great fanfare. This is Helga, Matilda announced to the staff. Renowned pup expert. Raised over 100 alpha children successfully. If anyone can calm the royal twins, she can. We all waited, hopefully. Helga lasted 2 days. I don't understand, she said, exiting the royal wing looking shell-shocked. I've used every technique, every trick I've learned in 40 years. Nothing works. They just scream and scream and scream. What specifically have you tried? The king asked, his voice strained. Everything. Rocking, singing, feeding schedules, strict routines, flexible routines, scent comfort, wolf bonding time. Everything. And nothing helped? Nothing. If anything, they get worse when I try the standard methods. It's like... She stopped. Like what? Like they know the methods are wrong. Like they're trying to tell us something, but no one understands. The king thanked her and paid her generously for her time, but I could see the desperation in his posture as he closed the door. Nanny 6, The Witch. The 6th attempt wasn't a nanny. It was a witch who specialized in child temperament. Sometimes pups are sensitive to spiritual imbalances, she explained to the gathered staff. I'll identify the problem and correct it. She went into the royal chambers with confidence. She came out 3 hours later, pale and shaken. Well, the king demanded, there's no curse, no spiritual imbalance, no magical interference. She looked genuinely puzzled. Those pups are just unhappy. Deeply, fundamentally unhappy. But I can't tell you why. That's not helpful. I know. I'm sorry. I wish I had better answers. Another failure. The crying continued. Nanny 7. The Healer. Perhaps it's medical, the royal healer suggested. Some condition we're missing. They brought in specialists, examined the twins thoroughly. Physically perfect, they reported. No illness, no condition, no explanation for the distress. Then why won't they stop crying? The king's voice was breaking now. We don't know, Your Majesty. We're sorry. Nanny 8, the desperate alpha. The 8th attempt was different. A female alpha, recommended by the council. She has natural authority, they said. She'll establish dominance, and the pups will submit. I was scrubbing nearby when I heard her enter the royal wing. These pups need discipline, she announced. Firm boundaries. They're testing you. 10 minutes later, the crying intensified to screaming. 20 minutes later, she emerged, her confident expression replaced by confusion. They won't submit. They just won't. They get more hysterical when I use alpha authority. Maybe they're too young. No, I've handled younger. This is different. It's like alpha commands make them worse. The king dismissed her, looking more hopeless than ever. The king's breakdown. That night I was scrubbing the corridor late when I heard it. A man crying. Deep, wrenching sobs coming from behind the closed door of the royal wing. The king, crying along with his children. I don't know what to do, his voice carried through the door. I don't know how to help them. What kind of father can't even comfort his own children? My heart broke. I'd never met the king, never even seen him up close. But hearing him break down, hearing his pain and helplessness, it made him human, made him someone I understood. Because I knew what it felt like to be broken and not understood. I stood there, frozen, listening to a powerful alpha king crying because he couldn't soothe his babies, and something inside me stirred. A need, a pull, a certainty that made no sense. I could help. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew. The problem was, who would ever listen to someone like me? Chapter 3, The Invisible Girl. My history. To understand why I never spoke up, you have to understand where I came from. I was born to a lower-tier family in the Clearwater Pack. My father was an Omega laborer. My mother was Omega domestic. They weren't weak by Omega standards, just normal, unremarkable. Then I came along, the runt, the one who wouldn't thrive. My siblings shifted easily at 12. I barely managed a half shift, my wolf emerging malformed and tiny. She's broken, the pack healer said. Her wolf isn't complete. It happens sometimes with runts. She'll never be fully functional. My parents tried to protect me, but they were Omegas themselves. No power, no influence. By 15, the pack alpha suggested I be turned over to the shelter. She's a drain on resources, he said. Better she be with her own kind. Her own kind. Other broken wolves. The shelter wasn't cruel, but it wasn't kind either. It was functional. A place for wolves who couldn't survive in normal pack life. I learned to sew there, to clean, to cook. Basic skills that might make me employable, but employers wanted strong Omegas. Capable Omegas, not broken ones. Your wolf is too weak, one said. You can't even properly scent track. How would you be useful? You're too small, another dismissed. We need Omegas who can handle physical labor. When the royal decree came, requiring the palace to hire from the shelters, I'd been chosen almost by default. She'll die anyway, the shelter director said. Might as well be working. So encouraging. Why I stayed silent with that history. You can understand why I never suggested I could help the twins. Who would listen to broken Omega Wren? The nannies were experts. The healers were trained. The witch was powerful. What could I possibly offer? Nothing. I was nothing. So I kept my head down and scrubbed my floors, but every day the crying got worse. And every day my certainty grew. I could help. I knew I could. The question was, how? The observation. I started paying attention during my cleaning duties. When the nannies tried loud, firm commands, the crying intensified. When they tried structured routines, the crying continued. When they tried traditional lullabies, no change. When they tried wolf bonding, shifting, and letting the pups interact with their wolves, the pups got more agitated. Every standard method failed. But I noticed something else. When the palace was quiet, late at night, early morning, the crying lessened slightly. When there was chaos, people rushing around, loud voices, activity, it got worse. When multiple people were in the room, more crying. When the king sat alone with them, quiet and still, marginally better, but still distressed. They didn't respond to authority. They didn't respond to expertise. They didn't respond to standard methods. What did that mean? The gift I never wanted. There was something about me I'd never told anyone. A secret. An embarrassment. My incomplete wolf came with an unexpected side effect. I could feel emotions. Not just my own, everyone's. Like the incomplete shift left me open to pack bonds that shouldn't exist. It was overwhelming, constant, exhausting. In crowds, I was bombarded with feelings, anger, joy, frustration, love, all of it hitting me at once. That's why I kept my head down, why I avoided people, why I seemed so weak. I wasn't weak. I was drowning in everyone else's emotions. The shelter had a healer examine me once. Empathic sensitivity, she'd diagnosed. Rare in wolves. Usually only seers have it, but never this strong. Can you fix it? There's nothing to fix. It's part of who you are. She'd looked at me with something like pity. Learn to shield, or it'll destroy you. I'd learned to shield somewhat. Walls in my mind, barriers. But it was exhausting, maintaining shields every waking moment. That's why I seemed tired, why I seemed weak. I was fighting a constant battle no one else could see. But here's the thing about empathic sensitivity. I didn't just feel emotions. I could influence them, not control, not manipulate, but soothe, calm, ease. It happened accidentally sometimes. An angry person near me would calm down. A crying child would quiet. I'd never told anyone, because who would believe that broken Omega Wren had any gift at all? But listening to the twins cry, feeling their distress through the walls, I knew what they needed. They needed someone who could feel what they felt, understand their distress, soothe them emotionally, not just physically. They needed someone like me. Chapter 4, The Turning Point. Week 14, The Crisis. The council's demanding action, Clara whispered during laundry. They say if the king can't control his own children, how can he control the kingdom? That's not fair. Since when is politics fair? They're looking for any excuse to undermine him. The crying twins are perfect ammunition. What will he do? I don't know, but it has to be soon. The twins haven't slept properly in weeks. Neither has the king. Something's going to break. That night, it did. I was scrubbing the corridor outside the royal wing, working late because I'd fallen behind on my duties. The crying was particularly bad. Heart-wrenching. Desperate. The door opened, and the king emerged. I'd never seen him up close before. He was not what I expected. Young, late 20s, maybe early 30s. Tall, broad-shouldered, clearly powerful. Dark hair disheveled. Eyes shadowed with exhaustion. He looked broken. He didn't notice me at first. Just stood in the corridor, head against the wall, shoulders shaking. He was crying. Silently. Hopelessly. I should have left. Should have made myself invisible as always. But my mouth opened before my brain engaged. Your Majesty? My voice was barely a whisper. He spun, surprised. His red-rimmed eyes found me kneeling there with my scrub brush. Who are you? No one, Your Majesty. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken. I started to leave, but his voice stopped me. Wait. You said something? What was it? I was just asking if you were all right. I'm sorry. I know it's not my place. You can hear them? He gestured to the closed door. The crying? Yes, Your Majesty. Everyone can hear it. And what do you think? His voice was raw, desperate. Do you think I'm failing them? That I'm a terrible father? No. The vehemence in my voice surprised us both. No, Your Majesty. You're not failing. You're trying everything. That's not failing. Everything I try makes it worse. He slid down the wall, sitting right there in the corridor. A king, sitting on the floor. 8 nannies, 3 healers. A witch. Nothing works. I should have left. Shouldn't have said anything more. But his pain was palpable. And I felt it. All of it. I stopped, aware of how presumptuous I was being. May I ask what you've tried? He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time, taking in my small frame, my worn servant's clothes, my nervous posture. Why? I've been listening to the crying, and I noticed patterns. Patterns. He sat up straighter. What kind of patterns? The crying gets worse with too much stimulus. Loud voices, multiple people, strong alpha authority, but gets a little better when things are quiet. When there's just one person. When there's gentleness. He was staring at me intently now. Who are you? Which nanny are you? I'm not a nanny, I'm just a maid, a cleaner. I'm nobody, Your Majesty. If you're nobody, why are you the first person to notice patterns? I had no answer to that. What's your name? Wren, Your Majesty. Wren. He said it like he was tasting it. You think my children need gentleness? I stopped, aware I was overstepping massively. I think they might be overwhelmed. Too many people trying too many things. Too much noise, too much authority. Maybe they just need quiet, understanding. Every expert says pups need structure, routine, authority. What if your pups are different? Silence. He was processing. Then, come with me. What? Come with me, into the royal chambers. He stood, suddenly all business. I want you to see them. Your Majesty, I'm just a cleaner. I don't care. You've noticed things no one else has. Come. He opened the door and gestured me inside. I had no choice but to follow. Chapter 5. Meeting the twins, the royal chambers. The royal wing was chaos. Toys scattered everywhere, half-eaten food on plates, blankets in piles. The evidence of desperate attempts to calm the twins. And in the center of it all, 2 cribs. The king led me to them. This is Ash, he said, pointing to one pup. Dark-haired like his father. And this is Ember. Ember had lighter hair, reddish tints. Both had the same storm-gray eyes. Both were crying. Had probably been crying for hours. Their faces were red, fists clenched, bodies rigid with distress. My empathic sense was immediately overwhelmed. Fear, confusion, exhaustion. Pain, not physical, but emotional. They were scared and didn't understand why. They're terrified, I whispered without thinking. What? They're scared, confused. They don't understand what's happening to them. How do you know that? The king's voice was sharp. The healers say they're not in pain. Not physical pain, emotional distress. I moved closer to the cribs without thinking. May I? He nodded, looking baffled. I approached slowly, quietly, keeping my movements gentle. Hello, Ash. Hello, Ember. My name is Wren. My voice was barely above a whisper, but both pups reacted, turning toward me, crying, lessening fractionally. It's okay, I continued softly. I know you're scared. I know it's too loud and too much. I understand. I did something I'd never done intentionally before. I lowered my empathic shields completely. Let my gift reach out. Let them feel what I was feeling. Calm, understanding, acceptance. The crying lessened more. Keep talking, the king whispered urgently. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You're safe, I told the twins. No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to force anything. We're just going to be quiet together. Is that okay? Ember hiccuped. Ash's crying became softer. I kept up the steady stream of quiet reassurance. Not singing, not commands. Just talking. Acknowledging their distress without trying to fix it immediately. I know it's hard being little. Everything's so big and loud and confusing. But it's going to be okay. You have your papa. He loves you so much. He's trying so hard to help. Slowly, carefully, I reached into Ash's crib. Let my hand rest near him. Not grabbing. Just present. He reached for it. Tiny fist wrapping around my finger. The connection was immediate. Through my empathic gift, I felt his distress more clearly. And I pushed back with calm, with understanding, with acceptance. His crying stopped. Completely stopped. The king made a sound, somewhere between a gasp and a sob. How are you doing that? I don't know, I whispered honestly. I'm just listening, feeling what they feel, telling them it's okay. Ember was watching now, still crying, but quieter, watching her brother hold my hand. I moved my other hand to her crib. The same slow, non-threatening approach. It's okay, Ember. I know it's scary, but you're safe. I promise. She grabbed my other hand. The connection formed. I pushed calm through it. Her crying stopped too. The royal chambers went silent for the first time in weeks. The king was staring at me like I'd performed a miracle. What did you do? His voice was awed. I just listened and let them know I understood. How? I couldn't tell him about my gift, about being empathic, about being broken. I don't know, Your Majesty. I just felt what they needed. The aftermath. For 10 minutes, the twins were calm, holding my hands, looking up at me with those storm-gray eyes, not crying. Then my empathic shields faltered. The effort of maintaining the connection was draining. The crying started again, but softer, less desperate. "You're exhausted," the king observed. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I can't hold it very long." "Hold what?" I didn't answer. He studied me for a long moment, then, "You're empathic." My eyes widened. "How did you know?" "Only empaths can soothe through emotional connection. I've read about it. Never met one before." His expression was complex. "You've been hiding it." "People don't understand empaths. They think we're weak, broken. I didn't want to be sent away." "Sent away? For having a rare gift?" "I'm Omega, Your Majesty, the weakest designation, with an incomplete wolf shift. I'm already broken. Adding empath just makes me more different." "Different isn't broken." His voice was firm. "And what you just did, calming my children when no one else could, that's not weakness. That's power." I didn't know what to say to that. "Can you do it again? Tomorrow?" I think so. If you want me to. I want you to." He looked at his now softly crying children. "Whatever this is, it's working. More than anything else has worked." "I'm just a cleaner, Your Majesty. I don't know anything about childcare." "You know what my children need. That's more than 8 trained nannies knew." He made a decision. "Starting tomorrow, you're reassigned. You'll be the twins' caretaker." "But I'm not qualified." "You just did what no one else could do. You're more qualified than anyone." He moved toward the door. "Report here at dawn. I'll inform Matilda of the change. Your Majesty, the other servants. They won't accept an Omega caretaker for the royal heirs. Especially not someone like me. I don't care what they accept. You're the only one who's helped my children. That's all that matters." He left, leaving me standing there, 2 royal pups holding my fingers, looking at me with trust. I'd just become the most important person in the palace, and I had no idea what I was doing. Chapter 6. The New Role, Week 15. First day. Dawn came too quickly. I reported to the royal wing as ordered, terrified and uncertain. The king answered my knock, looking marginally less exhausted than the night before. "Wren. Good. The twins have been asking for you." "They can't talk yet, Your Majesty." "No, but they've been reaching toward the door. I think they remember you." He stepped aside. "They had a better night than usual. Still cried, but less desperately." I entered the chambers, and both pups immediately focused on me. "Wren," the king said formally, "from today you are royal caretaker for Prince Ash and Princess Ember. Your sole responsibility is their well-being. You'll have full authority over their care, schedule, and needs." "Your Majesty, I really don't know what I'm doing." "Learn, adapt, but keep doing whatever you did last night." His eyes held mine. "My children need you. The kingdom needs them calm. Will you do this?" What choice did I have? "Yes, Your Majesty." "Good. I'll send servants to help with the physical care, feeding, bathing, changing. You focus on the emotional soothing." He moved toward the door. "I have council meetings all day. Can you manage?" "I'll try." After he left, I stood in the royal chambers, 2 pups staring at me expectantly. "Well," I said softly, "I guess we're doing this." The learning curve. The first hour was trial and error. The pups were 3 years old enough to be mobile, communicative, curious. But they'd been in constant distress for so long, they didn't know how to be normal children. I started slowly, sat on the floor. Let them come to me. Ash crawled over first, curious. Ember followed, more cautious. "Hi," I said softly. "Remember me?" "I'm Wren." Ash grabbed my hand again. That immediate connection. I pushed calm through it, felt his relief. Ember touched my other hand, Same connection formed. Okay, this is good. We can work with this. I discovered quickly that physical touch was essential. When they held my hands, the empathic connection strengthened. They calmed, but I couldn't hold both their hands constantly. I'd collapse from exhaustion. I needed to teach them to self-soothe, to feel safe without constant contact. How about a game? I suggested. Let's build something. I pulled out blocks the nannies had brought, started stacking them. The twins watched, curious but uncertain. Come on, you try. Ash reached for a block. Ember followed. For 20 minutes we built towers and knocked them down. Simple, silly, but peaceful. When they started getting agitated, I'd let them touch my hands, feel my calm, then redirect to another activity. By noon, we'd achieved something miraculous. 3 hours without crying. The skepticism. When servants came with lunch, they were shocked. They're quiet, one whispered. How? Just playing, I said softly. The nannies couldn't get them to play. They'd just cry. Maybe they needed someone who understood them differently. Word spread quickly through the palace. The broken Omega was somehow calming the royal twins. Not everyone was pleased. It's probably temporary, I heard one say. She'll fail like the others. She's Omega. How can an Omega care for Alpha heirs? The king's desperate, probably grasping at straws. I tried not to let it bother me, but old insecurities returned. What if they were right? What if this was temporary? What if I failed? The king's return that evening, the king returned to find the twins playing quietly with blocks while I told them a story. He stood in the doorway, staring. They played all day? His voice was odd. Mostly. They got fussy a few times, but we worked through it. How? Just understanding what they needed. When they got overwhelmed, I let them hold my hands, feel my calm. Then once they settled, we'd play again. He entered, and both pups ran to him excitedly. Papa, Ash managed, his first clear word in weeks. The king dropped to his knees, pulling them both close. His eyes were wet. They spoke. They haven't spoken in... He couldn't finish. They're just now feeling safe enough to try, I explained softly. They've been too scared to communicate. What were they scared of? Everything. All the noise. All the people. All the trying. Every nanny made them feel broken. Made them feel like they were the problem. I met his eyes. They're not the problem, Your Majesty. Everyone else's approach was the problem. He stood, still holding his children. Stay. Please. Stay as long as they need you. I will, Your Majesty. And Wren. Stop calling me Your Majesty when we're alone. It's Caspian. I can't, that's not appropriate. You're caring for my children. Your family now. Call me Caspian. Family. No one had called me family in years. Chapter 7, The Transformation. Week 16, The Routine. Over the next week, we established a routine. Mornings, gentle wake-up, quiet play, let the twins set the pace. Midday, outdoor time in the private gardens, let them run and explore. Afternoon, nap time, with me sitting nearby, providing ambient calm. Evening, story time, quiet songs, slow wind down. Night, bedtime ritual, hand-holding, gentle reassurance. The crying diminished daily. By the end of the week, it was rare, only when they were genuinely tired or hungry. It's remarkable, Caspian said one evening, watching them sleep peacefully. You've done in a week what no one else could do in months. They just needed someone who listened. How do you do it? The empathic gift, how does it work? I hesitated, then explained. About my broken wolf, about feeling everyone's emotions, about learning to shield or be overwhelmed. And you can push emotions too? Make people feel what you feel? Sort of. I can influence emotions but not control them. With the twins, I just share my calm. They feel it, and it helps them find their own calm. That's incredible. And exhausting, I imagine. Yes, I have to rest frequently or I'll collapse. He looked troubled. I'm pushing you too hard. No, this is important. They're important. I'll manage. Let me hire assistants. People to help with the physical care so you can focus on the emotional support. That might help, but they have to be quiet, gentle. The twins are sensitive to aggressive energy. I'll find the right people. I promise. Week 18. The breakthrough. The breakthrough came during an outdoor play session. The twins were running through the garden, actually laughing, for the first time. Caspian had joined us, his council meetings finished early. Watch this, Papa, Ember called, jumping off a low wall. He caught her, spinning her around. Very brave. Me too, Ash demanded. I watched them play, my heart full. This was what they'd needed all along. Permission to be children. Space to be themselves. You're smiling, Caspian said, joining me on the bench. They're happy. How can I not smile? You've given them this. Given me this. His voice was thick. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me. This is what I was meant to do. I think. What you were meant to do, he repeated softly. Wren, can I ask you something personal? Yes? Why do you always call yourself broken? The question caught me off guard. Because I am. My wolf is incomplete. I'm weak, too small, too sensitive. I'm everything wrong with omegas. You're not wrong. You're different. There's a distinction. Different gets you cast out, made invisible, told you're worthless. Who told you that? Everyone, my pack, the shelter, other servants. I've been told I'm broken my whole life. His expression was fierce. They were wrong. All of them. You're not broken, Wren. You have a rare, powerful gift that helps people. That saved my children. How is that broken? I had no answer. Promise me something, he said seriously. Promise me you'll stop seeing yourself as broken. You're not. You're extraordinary. I don't know if I can promise that. 20 years of being told you're worthless doesn't disappear overnight. Then I'll remind you every day until you believe it. His hand covered mine. You're not broken. You're perfect exactly as you are. The touch sent warmth through me. His sincerity reached past all my shields. Maybe, just maybe, he was right. Chapter 8. The Complications. Week 20. The Council. Not everyone was happy with my success. The council is questioning my decision, Caspian told me one evening. They think it's inappropriate for an Omega servant to be the primary caretaker for royal heirs. They're right. It is inappropriate by traditional standards. Traditional standards failed my children. You saved them. His jaw was set. But the council wants to meet you, assess you, make sure you're suitable. I'm not suitable. We all know that. Stop. You're completely suitable. But they need to see it themselves. He looked at me seriously. Can you face them? It won't be pleasant. They'll question everything. Your background, your qualifications, your Omega status. If it means keeping the twins happy, I'll face anything. That's what I hoped you'd say. The council meeting was as awful as predicted. 10 elder wolves, all alpha or beta, all looking at me like I was something distasteful. This is the Omega? One said dismissively. She's tiny, weak. How can she possibly handle royal children? By succeeding where everyone else failed, Caspian said coldly. The twins haven't cried in days. They're happy, healthy, developing normally. That's what matters. But she's Omega? So what? Omega doesn't mean incapable. It means gentler, calmer. Exactly what my children needed. Your Majesty, with respect, this sets a dangerous precedent. Elevating a servant, an Omega servant, to such an important position. I'm not elevating her position. I'm acknowledging her results. She does what no expert could do. That makes her invaluable. How does she do it? Another counselor demanded, looking at me. What's your secret, girl? I kept my voice steady. I listen. I feel what they need. I respond with gentleness instead of authority. That's not an answer. How do you feel what they need? I glanced at Caspian. He nodded slightly. I'm empathic, I said quietly. I can sense emotions. The twins were overwhelmed by too much input. I helped them feel calm. Silence. Then, empathic? That's incredibly rare. And dangerous, another added. Empaths can manipulate emotions. How do we know she's not manipulating the heirs? She's not manipulating them, Caspian said firmly. She's soothing them. There's a difference. Still concerning. What if she turns them against you? Against the crown? She's incapable of that. Her gift is compassion, not manipulation. The debate raged for an hour. Half the council wanted me removed immediately. The other half admitted my results were undeniable. Finally, the head counselor spoke. A trial period. 3 months. If the twins remain calm, healthy, and happy, she stays. If there are any problems, she's removed immediately. That's fair, Caspian agreed, though his tone said he thought it was anything but fair. One more condition, the counselor added. She must be monitored. Regular reports on her methods. We won't have the heirs corrupted by inappropriate Omega influence. Agreed, Caspian said through gritted teeth. After they left, he was furious. Monitored, like you're a criminal. It's okay. I understand their concerns. I don't. You've done nothing but help, yet they treat you like a threat because you're Omega. That's the world we live in. It shouldn't be, and I'm going to change it. His eyes blazed gold. No more Omega discrimination. No more treating people as lesser based on designation. I'll rewrite every law if I have to. That's a big task. Then I'd better start now. Week 24. The breakthrough 6 weeks into my role, the twins had their first full shift. It happened during outdoor play. Ash was running and suddenly, his body rippled. Fur sprouted. He became a small wolf pup. He looked shocked. So did Ember. Then she shifted too. Same ripple. Same surprise. Did you see that? Caspian was amazed. They've been trying to shift for months. Couldn't do it until now. They were too stressed, I said, watching the twin wolf pups explore their new forms. Fear blocks shifting. Now they feel safe enough to try. The twin pups ran in circles, playing, exploring their wolf forms with joy. Everything comes back to safety, Caspian murmured. You made them feel safe. We made them feel safe. You're here too, spending time with them. They need their father. I wasn't here enough before. Too focused on being king, not focused enough on being papa. You're learning. That's what matters. We watched the pups play, and something shifted between us too. An understanding, a connection. Caspian noticed me shivering. My empathic shields were dropping from exhaustion. You're drained. Come inside. Rest. I'm fine. No, you're not. I can see it. You push yourself too hard. He guided me to a bench. How often do you drop your shields? Constantly. The twins need the empathic connection. All day? Most of it. Wren, that's not sustainable. You'll burn out. I know, but I don't know another way. We'll find one. Together. Chapter 9. The Bond Week 28. Over the next month, something unexpected happened. Caspian and I became friends. Real friends. Not king and servant. Just 2 people who cared about the same thing. He'd join us for playtime, help with bedtime routines, ask my advice on parenting decisions. Should we start formal lessons soon? He asked one evening. They're 3 now, almost 4. Let them be children first. Lessons can wait. The council thinks a lot of things, but you're their father. You decide. He smiled. You're the only person who talks to me like that. Everyone else is too formal, too careful. Should I be more formal? Please don't. It's refreshing. We'd have long conversations after the twins were asleep, about pack politics, Omega rights, his vision for the kingdom. I want to change things, he said one night. Make Omega protection laws. Require consent for all matings. Ban discrimination by designation. That would help a lot of people. It would help people like you, who've been told they're broken when they're actually gifted. You keep saying that. Because it's true. His eyes held mine. You're the strongest person I know, Wren. You just don't see it yet. The problem was I was starting to feel things I shouldn't. Every time Caspian smiled at me, my heart raced. Every time he touched my hand, electricity sparked. Every time he praised me, warmth flooded through me. I was falling for him. The Alpha King. The one person completely out of my reach. You're being ridiculous, I told myself. He's being kind because you're helping his children. That's all. But my heart didn't listen. The festival. The turning point came during the Harvest Festival. It was the twins' first public appearance. Caspian wanted them seen by the pack, to prove the heirs were healthy. Will you come? He asked me. The twins will feel safer with you there. I'm just a servant. I don't belong at royal functions. You're their caretaker. You belong wherever they are. His voice softened. Please, I need you there too. So I went. Dressed in my best dress, still plain, still servant quality, but clean. The festival was overwhelming. Hundreds of wolves, loud music, constant activity. The twins clung to me, anxious. It's okay, I soothed. Papa's right here. You're safe. Caspian stayed close, helping me shield them from the worst of the crowd. You're doing great, he murmured. Both of you. When it came time for the king's speech, he brought the twins forward. And me. These are my children, he announced. Prince Ash and Princess Ember. Healthy, happy, growing strong. The crowd cheered. And this, he continued, putting his hand on my shoulder, is Wren, the woman who saved them, who brought peace to the royal household, who deserves all our gratitude and respect. More cheers, but also whispers. That's the Omega? She's so small. How can she possibly... I tried to shrink back, but Caspian's hand kept me in place. Wren represents what I want this kingdom to become. A place where people are valued for their gifts, not their designation. Where strength comes in many forms. Where everyone has a place. It was a political statement, a declaration of intent. And it put a target on my back. The threat that night, after the twins were asleep, I was returning to my quarters when I was cornered. 3 alpha servants. All bigger than me. All angry. You think you're special? One hissed. Elevated above your station because you can coddle some pups? I don't think I'm special. You're making Omegas think they can rise above their place. That's dangerous. I'm just doing my job. Your job is scrubbing floors, not playing at being royal. One grabbed my arm roughly. Maybe we should remind you where you belong. Let her go. Caspian's voice cut through the corridor like a blade. The alphas released me immediately, going pale. Your Majesty, you touched her. Threatened her. That's treason. His eyes blazed gold. Guards! Royal guards appeared immediately. Take them to the dungeon. They'll face judgment tomorrow. Your Majesty, please. You threatened the royal children's caretaker. That's threatening the heirs themselves. Get out of my sight. After they were dragged away, Caspian turned to me. Are you hurt? No, just scared. I'm sorry. I should have anticipated this. Making that speech put you at risk. You were standing up for Omegas. That's important. Not more important than your safety. His hands framed my face gently. I won't let anyone hurt you. I promise. The touch, the intimacy, the protectiveness. My heart couldn't take it. Caspian, I stopped, aware of what I'd almost said. What? Nothing. I should go, get some sleep. Wren, wait. His hand caught mine. There's something I need to tell you. What? He hesitated then. Never mind. It can wait. Get some rest. But his eyes said something else. Something that made my breath catch. Something I couldn't dare hope for. Chapter 10. The Truth Week 32. 3 months after I became the twins' caretaker, they were thriving. Happy, healthy, developing normally, speaking in full sentences, shifting confidently, playing without fear. The council had to admit, grudgingly, that I'd succeeded where everyone else failed. "The trial period is complete," the head counselor announced. "We see no reason to remove the Omega. She's adequate." "Adequate?" Caspian's voice was dangerous. "She's exceptional. Say it. She's performed well. Say it." "She's exceptional," the counselor gritted out. "Good. Then we're making her position permanent. Royal caretaker. Official title. Official salary. Official quarters in the royal wing." "Your Majesty, that's highly unusual." "So was hiring 8 failed nannies. Wren stays. End of discussion." After the council left, Caspian turned to me. "You're not a servant anymore. You're officially palace staff, royal caretaker. That comes with rank, respect, and resources. I don't need rank. You need to be protected. Official status does that." His eyes were intense, "And you deserve it. You've earned it." "Thank you. Don't thank me. You earned every bit of it." He stepped closer. "Wren, there's something else. Something I've been trying to tell you for weeks." My heart raced. "What?" He stopped as the twins burst in, demanding attention. "Papa! Wren, play with us!" The moment was lost, but something had shifted. Something was coming. The realization. That night I couldn't sleep. Caspian's almost confession. The way he looked at me, the protectiveness, the intimacy that had grown between us. It couldn't mean what I thought it meant. He was the Alpha King. I was an Omega X servant. We were impossible, but my heart didn't care about impossible. A knock at my door. Late. Unexpected. I opened it to find Caspian looking determined. "Can I come in?" "Yes." He entered, closing the door behind him. Taking a breath. "I can't wait anymore. I need to say this." "Say what?" "I'm in love with you." The world stopped. "What?" "I'm in love with you, Wren. I've been falling for you for months. Every day I watch you with my children. Every conversation we have. Every moment you show me who you really are." His eyes were blazing. "You're brilliant and kind and strong, and I love you. You can't. I'm Omega. I don't care. You're you. That's all that matters. Caspian, you're the king. I'm nothing. You're everything." He moved closer. "You saved my children. Saved me. Showed me what strength really looks like. Made me believe in changing the kingdom. You're everything, Wren. People will never accept. I don't care what people accept. I care about you, about us, about building something real." His hands framed my face. "Tell me you don't feel this too. Tell me I'm alone in this." I couldn't. Because I did feel it. Had been feeling it for weeks. "I love you too," I whispered. "But..." He kissed me before I could list all the reasons why this was impossible. And for that moment, nothing else mattered. Epilogue. 3 years later, the royal chambers were full of laughter. Ash and Ember, now 6, were chasing each other around while their baby brother Reed watched from my lap. "Careful," I called. "Don't knock over." Too late. A vase crashed. Caspian appeared in the doorway, raising an eyebrow. "Should I ask?" "Probably not," I said, trying to look stern at the twins. Both gave me their best innocent faces. "We're sorry, Mama," Ember said. Mama. I'd never get used to that. After Caspian's declaration 3 years ago, things had moved quickly. The council objected, of course. An Omega Luna Queen was unprecedented, scandalous, inappropriate. "I don't care," Caspian had told them. "Wren is my mate, my choice, my Luna. Accept it, or find new positions." They'd accepted it, grudgingly. The kingdom had been slower to accept. Whispers, gossip, criticism. But then they'd seen the twins. Happy, healthy, thriving under my care. They'd seen the laws Caspian passed, omega protection, consent requirements, anti-discrimination measures. They'd seen how I handled Luna duties with the same quiet competence I'd shown with the twins. Slowly, acceptance came. Not from everyone, but from enough. "You're staring," Caspian said, pulling me from my thoughts. "Just remembering. 3 years ago I was scrubbing floors. Now I'm Luna Queen with 3 children. 4 children," he corrected, his hand on my slightly swollen belly. "4," I agreed, smiling. "You're determined to have a large family." "I'm determined to fill this palace with love and laughter. You're the one making that possible." He kissed my forehead. "Never doubt that." "I don't. Not anymore." I touched his face. "You taught me I wasn't broken. That I was enough exactly as I am. You taught me what real strength looks like, what love looks like, what matters most." His arms wrapped around me and Reed. "Thank you for saying yes, for choosing this impossible life. Thank you for seeing me, really seeing me, when everyone else looked through me." Ash and Ember crashed into us, demanding attention. Reed giggled. The palace was chaos and love, and everything I'd never dared dream of. "Mama, tell us the story," Ember demanded, "about how you and Papa fell in love. You've heard it 100 times. We want to hear it again." Caspian grinned. "Yes, Mama. Tell us how an Omega maid saved the kingdom by calming the uncontrollable twins." I rolled my eyes but smiled. "Fine. Once upon a time, there were 2 little pups who cried all the time." I told them the story, about being invisible, about hearing their cries and feeling their pain, about being brave enough to suggest I could help. "And Papa listened?" Ash asked. "Papa listened, even though I was nobody, even though no one thought I could help. He listened." "Because love means listening," Ember recited. She'd heard this lesson many times. "Exactly. Love means seeing people for who they really are, not who others say they are." "Like how everyone said you were broken, but you weren't," Ash added. "Like that." "And now you're queen," Ember said proudly. "And you still sing us lullabies every night." "Always. That's the most important job I have." That night, after tucking the twins into bed, I stood in the nursery with Reed, singing softly. Caspian joined me, his arms around us both. "You know what I realized?" he said quietly. "What?" "The day I heard you speaking to those servants, telling them you noticed patterns in the crying. That was the day my world changed. I just didn't know it yet. The day you met Broken Omega Wren. The day I met the strongest woman I'd ever know. The woman who would become my Luna. My love. My everything." He turned me to face him. "You're not broken, Wren. You never were. You're perfect. Exactly as the moon goddess made you." "I'm starting to believe that." "Good, because it's true." He kissed me softly. "I love you, today, tomorrow, always. I love you too, my king, my mate, my heart." Reed yawned and we put him in his crib. As we left, I looked back at the sleeping pup. 3 years ago, I'd been the lowest of the low, the one everyone rejected, the broken Omega who wasn't worth anything. Now I was Luna Queen, mother to 3, soon 4, royal children, partner to a king who'd changed laws for me, proof that being underestimated didn't define your worth. "What are you thinking?" Caspian asked. "That no one could calm the Alpha King's twin pups. Until the Omega maid they all rejected did the one thing no one else thought to try." "What was that?" "Listened, truly listened, and loved them exactly as they were." "Sounds familiar. That's what you did for me too." His hand found mine. Listened when I was desperate. Loved when I was broken. Saw me when I felt invisible. We saved each other. Yes, we did. He pulled me close. "Thank you for being brave enough to speak up that night. For offering to help when you had every reason to stay silent. Thank you for listening, for giving an Omega nobody a chance. You were never nobody, Wren. You were always extraordinary. I just had the privilege of discovering it first. We walked to our chambers hand in hand, and I marveled at the journey. From invisible to irreplaceable, from broken to whole, from rejected to cherished. All because I dared to believe I could help. All because an alpha king had dared to listen. And all because 2 crying pups had needed exactly what only I could give: understanding, gentleness, and a lullaby sung by someone who knew what it felt like to be broken. Everyone had rejected me, but I'd calmed the twins, won the king's heart, and proven that sometimes the most powerful gifts come in the smallest, quietest packages. And I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. Closing. And there you have it, my beautiful dreamers. The story of Wren and Caspian, proof that being underestimated can become your greatest strength, that the most rejected heart can save a kingdom, and that sometimes the answer everyone seeks is found in the person everyone overlooks. Did this story touch your heart? Did you feel Wren's journey from invisible to irreplaceable? Did you believe in the power of gentleness? Then show me some love. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your favorite moment of Wren's transformation, and subscribe to Luna's Romance audiobooks so you never miss another tale of unlikely heroes and unexpected love. I want to know, would you have been brave enough to speak up like Wren did? Would you have believed in your gift when everyone said you were broken? Would you have dared to love a king? Tell me in the comments. And speaking of unlikely heroes, our next story is going to absolutely captivate you. It's called The Blind Omega's Vision, and it follows a she-wolf who lost her sight as a child, but gained something else: the ability to see the future. For years, she's been dismissed as broken, her visions ignored as delusions, until the Alpha King comes to her in desperation, needing to know if his kingdom will survive the coming war. What she sees in his future will change both their destinies forever. Until next time, my dreamers, may your perceived weaknesses become your greatest strengths, your quiet voices be heard, and your gentleness change the world. This is Luna, signing off. Sweet dreams, beautiful souls.